What's up, everybody? It's Three Wheel Khalil. Happy New Year. Glad to be back with you guys in another one. And as you may know, I went through a lot of changes last year, moved from Florida to Georgia, and let's just say the weather is a little different. But that brings new challenges, and I've never had to deal with quote unquote winterizing my bikes before, but now it's something that I have to think about. So I did go ahead and purchase this thing right here. Luckily on Amazon I was actually able to get this same day, but this is a battery charger, a battery tender plus to be specific, and you install some little cables on the motorcycle that basically allow you to be able to just plug this in and keep your battery topped up so that you're not killing your battery prematurely in the wintertime or when you're gone, for an extended time. So I think this is pretty essential to have in any place that it's cold, which is a little bit different than where I'm coming from. Not something I ever had to think about, but stick with me if this is something that you need to do on your Ryker. All right, let's unbox this little guy. All right, so in here, we've got another little box that contains the actual battery tender. Sweet. So you should see on the device, it's just kind of like a little block that plugs into the wall. And then it's got the alligator clamps. And then also it should come with a quick connect that we can set up on the Ryker, and that we can just come into the garage, plug it in, and we shouldn't have to deal with a whole bunch of setup or the possibility of the alligator clamp falling off or anything like that. So let's dig a little deeper. Back of the box, they show a guy working on some sort of custom motorcycle, I imagine. All right. Boom. So this is the battery tender plus. It's a pretty small device. It's actually smaller than I was thinking it was. You can see it comes with these alligator clamps. These ones are super tiny. Thought they were going to be a little bit bigger, but they're super tiny, which is good, obviously, for motorcycles. My little Honda Monkey, when I had to jumpstart it because I had it sitting in the garage too long in the cold, I used one of my little jump battery pack I keep in my truck, and the clips were definitely not this small, and so it looks a little funny when you're trying to get that secured. So these are cool. Then this is the quick connect style that I'm talking about here. So on one end, these should go under the battery terminal connections and just sit there and mount up. And then on the other end, you have the little quick connect cable that will then connect in on the other side of this battery charger. All right, so it's this little battery charger unit we got right here. Pretty solid metal construction, cold to the touch. Decent looking little device. The cables are hard cables, so if one of these cables were to break, you'd probably have to replace the whole thing, or you'd have to resolder in new cables. So that's kind of one downside of a unit like this. It wasn't ridiculously expensive. I think it's about $50, but it'd kind of be cool to see, especially the quick connect cable be removable. But hey, can't complain. So you've got the storage light. Let's see if that'll focus here. Yeah, so looks like you've got a light down here for storage. I guess that's when it's basically fully topped up and it knows that it's topped up. And then you've got the red light here for that it's actually actively charging the battery. So you should see it on green most times when you're just trying to sit your charger in there and just getting the job done on a daily basis. But when I first connect it here, I expect the Ryker to be red, but we'll see. Cool. So that's everything you get in the box. Like I said, one plug into the wall here. Get that to focus a little faster. Yeah, so one plug for the wall and then the quick connect cable we were talking about there. So, all right, well, let's see if we can get the quick connect cable here set up on the Ryker. Now, I'm sure everybody and their mom understands how to do this now, but first thing we're going to do is pop the hood. And there's 2 latches on the bottom each side. You just depress those latches, and then you free up the hood. As you can see, I've got some little bit, a little bit of wiring that I've done for my lights on the bike. So that is set up. And you can see our main point that we're going to need to access is right here in the front, which are those 2 battery terminals. So we're going to need a screwdriver to completely loosen that up. All right, so what you could do is use a socket, but these both have a Phillips head plug, so I'll be honest, I'm just going to use this little Phillips head screwdriver that I've got. Make sure that you use something that it's not metal on metal, so you don't risk shocking yourself or anything like that. Just use something with a rubber grip on it or something like that. Always disconnect the negative side first. I'll disconnect that negative. And then I'm going to grab by the wire here and kind of free that thing up. Just grab that. Oh boy. You don't want to complete the circuit here. So make sure you get that fully screwed out. This looks like it. Yep, it should be ready to come out. And then kind of want to get that out of the way. I'm going to try and tuck it. Remove that. Put that off to the side. See if I can tuck that out of the way. All right. So we've got the negative removed. Now we're going to remove the positive. All right. So there we go. Both sides removed. All right. So here we go. Like before, these are the little connectors that need to go in there. Gonna look around a little bit, see how I want them to sit. So I want to make sure that the way that I'm setting it up will work. And that's kind of what I'm thinking here is just, I'm going to zip tie the fuse area up to the top of this strap and then just kind of have these 2 things hanging right there. I think that would be a good way to do it, and it'll look clean. I can't see this one anymore, but yeah. Let's see how that works out. All right. Got that in the way that it's sitting flat. You don't want to over tighten it. You don't want to strip those screws because that will cause you a lot of problems in the future. So here we would be throwing that on, and now is when we got to be careful because we're going to be completing the circuit. So now I'm going to get the negative side back on, and that should really be all we have to do in terms of power. And then I'm going to kind of look where I want to try and keep those cables kind of routed so that they're out of the way. All right, so after a little bit of looking around, I think I've decided to have this come up and over kind of with the rest of my cables. Still out of the way of the steering linkage, but what it's going to do is come through here so that I could still reach it from right here where one of the filters is, and I could kind of just feed a cable through the side rather than having to take the whole hood off every time I want to charge it or every time I want to set it up on the trickle charger. So I think that's where I'm going to zip tie it right here. It's kind of with the rest of my cables and kind of tie it into that system there. All right, I think I'm learning on the fly a little bit here. So I think I'm going to keep it maybe just as far as back as here so that it doesn't rub there, because when that gets hot, I've seen that fry wires if they sit a little too low. So I try to keep my wiring out of the way of that now. So I'm gonna just try and go right there. That should be good. Right there. All right. And that's definitely not perfect. That's kind of the best solution I can see right now without much planning or forethought. But I think that's going to still be good. I definitely can still see this right here and link up the two cables. And at least I could link it up and close the hood back up. I just didn't want it too close to the bottom here. And but I think being right there will work pretty well. And it kind of just sits with the rest of my cables here, and it's still out of the way of the shift linkage. Not going to get caught. Shift linkage kind of pushes these cables a little bit. Maybe I might actually just sit those right there, since I know that's not going to do the same thing. So yeah, if you guys have any better ideas on how to run that particular cable or how you guys did it, please leave it in the comments below. I'm not married to that setup. I'm just kind of thinking that that's the best way to go. It'd be nice if somebody came up with like some cable channels for these Rikers, just because, you know, people do all sorts of aftermarket lights on them and everything, and definitely can get a little bit hectic. I only have a couple aftermarket lights here. I don't even know if you'll, yeah, they still turn on. So I'm just gonna get this plugged in on the trickle charger and see if we're good to go. All right, so I have the battery tender plus plugged in. I've got the cable run, at least temporarily, and I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in. If you look in the top right hand corner, you should see the battery tender plus, and then down here, the little, I guess people call this maybe a pigtail, I don't know. So I've already gone ahead and started to feed this cable through here, but I'll let it fall. So got this cable, got the quick connect on that side, and we're going to go ahead and get those connected to each other. And now the charging light has gone solid red, which means it is charging my battery. And the way that I ran the cable there allows me to just go ahead and toss this back on. So as you can see, it is charging over there in the corner. That red light has gone solid. I'm gonna leave this on for the rest of the night, probably for the rest of like the week or so, but I'm gonna get it set up a little bit more permanently in the background. If you guys have any ideas on how to run that wire or how you've done it yourself, if you've already done this, please leave it in the comments below. I'm sure it'll be helpful to me and any other person who watches the channel. Appreciate you guys' time. I've been 3-Wheel Khalil. This is the Ryker. And this is that Georgia life where we got to winterize our bikes. Catch y'all later in the next one.